Hi everybody, I'm GWReborn, and today I have a quick video discussing trim capes versus non-trim capes. It's a really different and odd question that had somebody ask me today earlier, but I figured I'd share it. First off, I'd like to say that this is just an opinion and reference for you guys to use and not the most optimal route. So I have the exact same settings I wanted to ensure before I start this discussion, and everything looks like the exact same. Small text, everything advanced, highest quality. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So I have a blue trim cape on the LGiT Kurzik side I wanted to use on my main account, and that's to compare with a oddball alt on a non-trim cape guild. So right now I currently have both of the emblems off, so we can go ahead and compare the colors with them off. The only difference that you can notice is the one with the trim cape, so you're going to be able to see what does a trim cape do when it comes to, is there a colorization difference, is there an emblem altered difference, is there any form of location that's different besides the trim that's overlaid. So far all I can see is the trim is overlaid and there isn't no real big comparison difference in color. But I do notice that for this one, that with the trim it's covering up the black, but there is a black outline on this one with that color particular. And as the colors change, the outside edge, there's like a slim trim around the non-trim cape, but the trim cape is covering up that depending on the color I change to. So the colorization looks about the same. There is a slight alter between trim and no trim, but it's hard to tell. It depends on the eyes you're looking at. But let's see, we'll keep going through here. Looks about the same, a little bit brighter on one than the other. This one looks a little darker, but that's just me. Keep in mind that the color schematic is the exact same. The only difference is one's trim and one's not. And you can assume the trim capes are the same color. It could be orange, green, red. The concept would be the exact same. So I'm going through every color real quick to compare before I go to the next step. Dark green. Alright. Dirty yellow. It almost looks like there's a little bit more high definition with the non-trim than in the trim cape, but that's just my view. And then red, dark red, whatever. Make it bright red. Let's go ahead and change that to the other one. Now we're all the way to the brighter definition. So there is a slight difference in the technology of how the colors are being altered depending on which, the one with the trim and not trim. So the one with the trim may be a slightly different look, but not much at all. I don't see any huge difference. Some of you guys are wondering why I'm making this video. Maybe I'm just doing it to compare trim capes and non-trim capes. Maybe somebody out there besides the guy that asked me may be considering, oh, well, what is the difference? Is it really worth it? Because it costs 2,500 reward points to get a trim cape, or even the obby's 15,000 points, I'm pretty sure. So that's all I'm going to go for the background color. Let's go ahead and alter it. Let's make sure background's black. Background's black. Alright, so let's say, what if we wanted a white background? So let's go ahead and change or to detail, and we're going to do that to compare this end. So we'll go ahead and change to, let's just say, the lightning to test that one instead. That'll give us a different detail color. The concept's going to be the exact same though. So the main thing is just focusing on the outside edges to see how it altered between the emblems and the background colors as well as the edges. Alright, now let's throw in a few emblems in there. Let's change these emblems to, say, I don't know, we'll go to 3/4 silver, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll change this one to 1, 2, 3. So you could tell there is a slight variation in color. At least on my screen I can see it by just doing that. And I don't know if we wanted to change the lightning bolt to like a more real look. Okay. So that looks about the same though, just comparing the two. And also, depending on the actual rotation, can affect the emblem because it has a little bit of an appeal to it when it comes to the actual look of the shininess, I guess you can say, they added to it. But I don't see any major alterizations when it comes to even the emblem. It's pretty much overlaid, so there's no major changes between having a trim cape versus without having a trim cape. So if you really think it's worth buying a trim cape or investing in one with your PvP points, go ahead and do it. I highly say it's probably in the long run not worth it because unless you want the color appel, it's going to be no real beneficial look for you outside of just that trim design. So that's all I got for y'all. I hope this answered some questions. You're welcome from the one that asked as well as anybody else that was curious. Thanks for watching. This is Reborn out.